Life can be tough. We face challenges, we encounter setbacks. In these moments we can find hope in the story of Joseph. Joseph, a man who faced extraordinary trials, reminds us that God keeps his promises. Even when life throws its worst, God's love remains constant. Joseph's journey is a testament to God's faithfulness. He endured betrayal, slavery, and imprisonment. Yet through it all, he clung to his faith. He trusted that God had a plan, even when he couldn't see it. And in the end, God's purpose for Joseph's life unfolded in a remarkable way. Joseph's story teaches us a powerful lesson. God is with us, always. When we feel forgotten, he remembers us. When we feel afraid, he strengthens us. When we trust in God's plan, we can face the future with courage and hope. Joseph's life took a dramatic turn when he was just 17 years old. Favored by his father Jacob, Joseph received a beautiful coat of many colors. This gift, however, ignited jealousy in his brothers' hearts. Resentment festered, and they plotted to get rid of him. One day, while Joseph tended to his father's sheep, his brothers seized their opportunity. They stripped him of his coat, threw him into a dry well, and left him for dead. A caravan of merchants passed by and, seeing an opportunity for profit, pulled Joseph from the well and sold him into slavery. Joseph, once a beloved son, was now a stranger in a foreign land, his dreams seemingly shattered. He was far from home, stripped of his identity and forced into servitude. Yet, even in this dark season, a flicker of faith remained within him. Sold to Potiphar, an Egyptian official, Joseph found himself in a foreign land, stripped of his freedom and dignity. Yet even in this difficult situation, Joseph's character shone through. He worked diligently, earning Potiphar's trust and becoming a valued servant in his household. However, Joseph's troubles were far from over. Potiphar's wife, captivated by Joseph's handsome features, attempted to seduce him. Joseph, a man of integrity, refused her advances, choosing to honor God and his master. Enraged by Joseph's rejection, Potiphar's wife falsely accused him of assault. Joseph once again found himself a victim of injustice. He was thrown into prison, his hopes for a brighter future seemingly dashed once more. Prison life was harsh, but Joseph's resilience and unwavering faith continued to shine. He remained helpful and respectful even towards his fellow prisoners. One day, two of Pharaoh's officials, the cupbearer and the baker, were imprisoned alongside Joseph. Both men had vivid dreams that troubled them. Word spread of Joseph's ability to interpret dreams, a gift from God. The cupbearer and the baker, desperate for answers, confided in Joseph, sharing the details of their dreams. Joseph, guided by God's wisdom, interpreted their dreams with startling accuracy. This event, seemingly insignificant within the confines of the prison walls, would later prove pivotal in Joseph's life. Section 5. From prisoner to prime minister, God's plan unfolds. 2 years passed, Joseph remained imprisoned, the memory of his dream interpretation fading into the background noise of prison life. One night, Pharaoh was troubled by vivid and disturbing dreams that left him shaken and confused. None of Pharaoh's advisors or magicians could interpret the strange dreams. Then the cupbearer, remembering Joseph's gift, told Pharaoh about the young Hebrew prisoner who had accurately interpreted his dream in prison. Pharaoh summoned Joseph. Brought before the most powerful man in Egypt, Joseph listened intently as Pharaoh described his dreams. With God's guidance, Joseph interpreted Pharaoh's dreams. He foretold that Egypt would experience 7 years of abundant harvests, followed by 7 years of severe famine. Impressed by Joseph's wisdom and insight, Pharaoh recognized him as a man touched by God and appointed him as second in command over all of Egypt. Section 6. Through trials to triumph, recognizing God's hand. Joseph's life is a testament to God's unwavering faithfulness. From the depths of despair in a pit to the pinnacle of power in Egypt, God's hand guided Joseph's every step. It's easy to look at Joseph's story and marvel at the miraculous turn of events. But the true miracle lies in Joseph's unwavering faith. Through every trial, he clung to God, trusting in his plan even when he couldn't see it. He chose to believe that even in the darkest of times, God was working all things together for his good. Joseph's life is a powerful reminder that God can use even the most difficult circumstances to fulfill his purposes. Our trials, though painful, can become stepping stones to greater things. They can refine our character, deepen our faith, and prepare us for a future we could never have imagined. When we face adversity, it's tempting to question God's plan. But Joseph's story encourages us to hold on to hope. Section 7. The power of forgiveness. Joseph's heart of compassion. Years later, the famine that Joseph had predicted spread throughout the land, reaching even his homeland of Canaan. Jacob, Joseph's father, sent his sons to Egypt to buy grain, unaware that the powerful governor they were about to encounter was their long-lost brother. Imagine the mix of emotions Joseph must have felt as his brothers stood before him, bowing low to the ground. The pain of their betrayal, the years of anguish and separation, must have washed over him. Yet instead of seeking revenge, Joseph chose forgiveness. He recognized that God had orchestrated these events to preserve his family and fulfill his divine plan. With tears in his eyes, Joseph revealed his true identity to his brothers. The brothers, overwhelmed with guilt and remorse, feared Joseph's retribution, but Joseph, with a heart full of compassion, reassured them. Joseph's forgiveness is a powerful example of God's love in action. Section 8. God's timing is perfect, waiting with hope and trust. Joseph's story is a testament to the importance of trusting God's timing. From the pit to the palace, Joseph's journey was marked by seasons of waiting. He waited for justice, for freedom, for his dreams to be fulfilled, and through it all, he remained faithful. Waiting can be one of the most difficult tests of faith. We live in a world that values instant gratification, a world that tells us to take matters into our own hands. But God often works on a different timeline. His ways are not our ways, and his thoughts are higher than our thoughts. In those seasons of waiting, it's easy to become discouraged, to question God's plan. But Joseph's story reminds us that God is never in a hurry. Section 9. Embracing the journey, finding purpose in the pain. Joseph's life was far from easy. He faced betrayal, injustice, and years of hardship. But through it all, he remained faithful to God, trusting that he had a plan for his life. Joseph's story is a powerful reminder that our trials are not in vain, they have a purpose. God uses our experiences, both the good and the bad, to shape us into the people he created us to be. Our trials can refine our character, deepen our faith, and prepare us for a future we could never have imagined. When we embrace our journey, even the difficult parts, we open ourselves up to the possibility of experiencing God's goodness in new and profound ways. He will never leave us, nor forsake us. Section 10. Seeds of Faith, Reaping a Harvest of Blessings. Joseph's story is a testament to the power of planting seeds of faith, even in the most barren of circumstances. In the pit of despair, in the midst of false accusations, in the solitude of prison, Joseph chose to believe in God's goodness and faithfulness. He could have easily given in to bitterness and resentment. He could have allowed his circumstances to define him. But instead, he chose to trust that God had a plan even when he couldn't see it. And in doing so, he planted seeds of faith that would later yield a harvest of blessings. Every act of obedience, every prayer whispered in the darkness, every act of kindness extended to others was a seed planted in faith. And in God's perfect timing, those seeds sprouted and grew, producing a harvest that not only blessed Joseph but also saved a nation from famine. Our lives are like gardens. Every day we have the opportunity to plant seeds of faith, hope, and love. These seeds may not bear fruit immediately, but we can trust that God sees every seed we plant. Section 11. Trusting the potter, allowing God to mold our lives. Just as a potter molds clay into a vessel of beauty and purpose, so too does God desire to mold and shape our lives. He is the master potter, and we are the clay. But sometimes the process of being molded can be painful. We may feel stretched, squeezed, and even broken. During these times, it's important to remember that God is not trying to harm us. He loves us too much to leave us as we are. He sees our potential, even when we can't see it ourselves. And he knows that sometimes we need to be broken in order to be made whole. When we surrender to God's potter's hands, we allow him to work in and through us to accomplish his purposes. We may not always understand his ways or his timing, but we can trust that he knows what's best for us. He sees the bigger picture even when we can only see the present moment.